Happy Sunday, everybody. Steve here. Let's get ready to head out on the road tomorrow, go out on my next trip. But I wanted to share this with you. I was doing some Bible study yesterday, and I'd heard this years ago, and I was reading something and just brought back to my mind. So I did a little research and wanted to look it up. But looking at the genealogy of Jesus, and and some of the things that appear to be inconsistencies, but really are not, and really is a beautiful plan. So if you look at Matthew chapter 1, Matthew goes through great lengths to show the genealogy. And in the Jewish culture, I mean, that was very important. You had to be able to trace your genealogy all the way back. And Matthew does a great job here showing this from Abraham all the way to Joseph, through David, to Jesus, the Messiah, and points out that as being the son, Joseph's adopted son, Jesus was in line with David. And there's a lot of scriptures and that talks about, God talks about the line of David in Jeremiah 22. Jeremiah 33, 17. For this is what the Lord says: David will never fail to have a man sit on the throne of Israel, nor will the Levitical priest ever fail to have a man stand before me continually to offer burnt offerings, to burn grain offerings, and to present sacrifices. So God makes it very clear that his love for David, his love for Israel, that David will never cease to have a man on the throne. But when you read through Kings and First, Second Kings and Chronicles, the kings that followed David, there was some really good ones. There was a few that were as good as ever, and that had a zeal for the Lord, but there were many more that were not. Of course, when Israel and Judah split, Israel kind of went their own way. Of course, they fell first, but there came a point where it was just so egregious. So God he's long suffering, but there's a point, and God had gotten to the point with Israel that and it basically, I mean, it was with the last king, Jehoiachin, and it's spelled a couple of different ways, which gets confusing also. But basically, this last king, when Babylon came in and said, "You're ours," and took and conquered, so in Jeremiah 22 verse 30, God finally had enough, and he said, "This is what the Lord says: record this man as if childless," talking about Jehoiachin, the last king of Judah, "a man who will not prosper in his lifetime, for none of his offspring will prosper. None will sit on the throne of David or rule anymore in Judah." Interesting. So God basically cursed the line of David at that point. Now, how does that reconcile with when he says in Jeremiah 33, where he says there will always be, but in 22 he says this guy will not, and that seems to be a bit of a catch-22. And so one of the ways around this was the virgin birth. So if you in Jewish tradition, adopted sons inherit the same rights as their father, and legally can inherit property and land, and can be king. So that was the line there. So I mean, in Matthew, again, in Matthew 1, it was really interesting. It goes through, Jesse, the father of King David. David was father Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife. Solomon, the father of Rehoboam. So David, through Solomon, got to Joseph. And now one thing I always had a question, if you look at Luke 3, and you look there, and Luke was, the tradition says he was a doctor, so I mean, he was a learned man. But it's just, well, how could this be so off? I mean, if you look at the names, none of them match up. And, if you read in verse 23, now Jesus himself was about 38 years old when he began his ministry. This is Luke 3:23. He was the son, so it was thought of Joseph. And then it skips down, in the version I'm looking at here, it jumps another paragraph down, break of thought. The son of Heli, the son of Mattat, the son of Levi, the son of Melchi. Well, that doesn't line up with Matthew chapter 1. And I was reading and looking, and this is Mary's genealogy. And if you go down the line here, this is Mary. Mary is from the tribe of Judah as well, and which is really interesting. If you look down at verse 31, you see there's Jesse, the son of David, the son of Jesse. In verse 31, Nathan was a son of David. So, and it's really interesting to me is that Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, was also the mother of Nathan, and Nathan was on down the line the mother or the father of Mary. So it's kind of a two-pronged thing. Like there was the so here's that catch-22 with the curse that was put on Jehoiachin right before the Babylonian occupation and everything else, and Israel and Judah was occupied, carried away, and God cursed that line. But then, the line continued. But here's a son of David through Mary, and he's not an offspring of Joseph's line from Solomon, that cursed line. Now he's not an offspring, so that verse in Jeremiah 33, is it 33? I don't want to make sure I get these. 22. So Jeremiah 22, that says his offspring will not prosper, none will sit on the throne of David. So he's not an offspring from Joseph's line. He's an offspring from Mary, the Immaculate Conception, but there's still that connection with David's family, and so God's telling the truth. I mean, there's one more proof that Jesus is the Son of God, is this beautiful solution to this problem that God, I mean, honestly, it's just, you kind of, some people look at this and go, well, God boxed himself in the corner. No, he like solidified it. I mean, it's just like, what are the chances? What are the odds in all of this working together? And I saw some other articles, people were saying, well, what about where it says that Mary was a relative of Elizabeth who was a Levite? Well, Mary's mother could have been a Levite, and her father was a tribe of Judah. I mean, they did intermingle. That's possible too. So cousins through the mother's side. Just really fascinating. And I'd heard this years ago when I was like in high school, and I always thought it was really, really cool just how these multiple layers of evidence pointing to Jesus as the Son of God. And I just thought that was really cool. I just wanted to share that with y'all. Pretty exciting stuff. So look it up for yourself. I'll put all the verses down below that are referenced and everything else. But it's really cool. So anyway, I hope you have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next time. Take care.